I gave my gluten-free mom gluten without telling her. Now she's furious, and I'm wondering if I made a huge mistake. So my mother and I don't have a great relationship. Throughout my life, she has pushed all kinds of fad diets, self-help flavored fads, and even conversion therapy via the troubled teen industry on me. She's never apologized for any of it despite me telling her how much it all messed me up. I still haven't mustered the guts up to go no contact, because she's still married to my dad, who I do get along with and generally like. Well, I recently moved to a new place in a really nice area because I just got a really nice new job. Suddenly my mom really wants to come and visit and see me. I do my best to make up excuses, but she pushes so hard that eventually I cave. One of the things I've been doing since moving into my new place is a lot of cooking, because I have a nice big kitchen all to myself. I love weird food and finding new ways to get protein in my diet without using meat. Something I've had a lot of fun making lately is latiao. It's probably not weird to some people, but to my sheltered American self it was funky as hell and I loved the idea of it. So I started making it from scratch and discovered that I love it. Well, my mom and dad got here yesterday afternoon/evening and settle in, and we start talking about dinner. As usual, mom has to pick after looking at online menus for a couple hours to make sure they fit with her dietary requirements. She ends up picking a vegan restaurant that's across town, but she's just so tired from the drive up, she can't fathom getting back in the car. So dad and I agreed to go pick it up while she rests. Driving across my new city is a long process, which I told her ahead of time, and it's a little over an hour later when we get home with the vegan/gluten-free food she wanted, as she's not vegan, but she is adamantly gluten-free and has been for a few years now. We get inside, and as I am opening the food in the kitchen I notice the Pyrex snap, where container of latiao that was in my fridge is now empty in my sink. She even dumped out the sauce that I'd been soaking them in. I asked her if she'd eaten something out of my fridge while we were gone, and she said that yes, she had eaten some chicken because she was getting lightheaded from hunger, but it was terrible and she was so ready for some real food. Now this is where I might have been the asshole. Instead of telling her what she had actually eaten, I just rolled my eyes and dished up the food for everyone and we ate. She continued to remark about how bad and oily the chicken was, and how relieved she was to finally eat something substantial throughout the rest of the evening. My dad kept trying to change the subject, and she kept coming back to it. I finally snapped when she brought it up again first thing this morning when I was picking them up from their hotel. I asked them where they wanted to go for breakfast, and my mom made a joke about not wanting me to cook them breakfast because she didn't want more oily chicken or something to that effect. I finally said, "Mom, that was homemade latiao, and I don't understand why you ate all of it if you hated it so much." She asked me what latiao is and I explained that it's just vital wheat gluten and water steamed and soaked in sauce. I practically watched as her face dropped, and sure enough within 30 minutes her stomach was killing her, and she was having difficulty breathing and needed to go to the emergency room. The whole time we were there she went on and on to the nurses and doctors about how I'd fed her gluten and not told her until it was too late for her to take her medicine and crying because now the whole trip was ruined. Mind you, this is the hospital where I work. My dad pulled me aside to tell me he was disappointed that I hadn't spoken up last night, and how what I'd done not only hurt my mother's feelings, but also put her health and safety at risk. He asked me to go home and think about my actions and give my mother some space, and now I'm just sitting here alone in my cool new place, feeling like a dick and super anxious about what work is going to be like next week. I'm torn because I don't think it's my fault that she ate my food without talking to me first, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't omit the information about what she'd eaten because I was pissed at her, and just didn't want to discuss it further. I also didn't expect it to make her so sick. So, next story. I suspect my wife might be cheating, and I can't shake the feeling. Now I'm wondering if I'm just overreacting or if there's really something going on. About 6 months ago, I noticed an undershirt folded up in my dresser drawer. The weird thing was that the label wasn't from any of the brands that I have, and there was only one of that kind. I tried it on, and it clearly didn't fit me. I assumed that it was an old shirt of mine that somehow got brought out of storage and tossed it. 2 months later, I find a pair of men's jeans, clearly not my size, folded on the top of the dresser. This was after I was at a conference for a few days. The conference was in my town, but I was gone from 6 a.m. 11 p.m. pretty much every day. I asked my wife about it and family who had visited recently. Nobody had any idea where they came from. I started to suspect something was up, but decided that it was in the best interest of my relationship to just ask once and then trust my wife's response. I tossed the jeans and moved on. This morning I found a men's polo shirt hanging in my closet. Not my size, and has brand from a store that I don't shop at, and haven't even stepped foot into for nearly a decade. This, only days after I returned from an out-of-town work trip. I confronted my wife demanding answers. She claims that she knows nothing. I started by asking her why she thinks I'm upset. She jumped straight to, "You think I'm cheating?" I asked her to put herself in my shoes and try to explain how else I could interpret this pattern, me being gone, men's clothing showing up in my house. She never answered the question. We went back and forth, never screaming or throwing things, for about an hour, with this shirt lying on the table between us. I kept saying that, "I don't know," is not an acceptable answer. She ended with, "Or what?" I said that I needed answers one more time and got straight up from the table and left to go back to work. Historically, I do trust her. But I can see how easily lies come out of her mouth when speaking to her family, over seemingly small things. She grew up in an overbearing household and she knows how to cover her tracks. During the conversation I asked if I could go through her cell phone, something I have never done before or even tried to do. Of course, nothing of note. Something is happening. The pattern is clear to me. Am I overreacting? How should I proceed? Next story. I told my wife, "It isn't hard, you can do it yourself," when she asked for help with IKEA furniture. Now she's upset, and I'm wondering if I was being unfair. So, my wife recently bought some new furniture from IKEA. She has been remodeling the house, and almost every week she is buying something new. I do not like assembling furniture, and every single time she has bought something I am the one who is assembling it. I don't think it's that difficult. Really, it is more time consuming than anything. I got home and she bought a new desk and asked me to put it together. I told her no, it isn't hard, and she can do it by herself. She wasn't happy about any and did go do it. It wasn't long until she made a loud yell. She dropped the price of wood on her foot. This caused a big argument about me not helping her and I pointing out that she doesn't want help, she wants me to do it all. She called me a jerk and the desk is just laying on the floor not assembled. I am refusing to assemble it.